Sisters, I will be able to manage on my own from now on. But do me a favor. Tell that first sister who came to see me that the light she lit in my life is still burning. My dear friend, on the third Sunday of Ordinary Time, we have the Gospel of Matthew chapter 4 verses 12 to 23 for our reflection today. St. Mother Teresa gives us a beautiful example of a man who was brought out of darkness into the light. One day in Melbourne, Australia, she visited a poor man whom nobody knew existed. The room in which he was living was in a terrible state of untidiness and neglect. There was no light in the room. The man hardly ever opened the blinds. He hadn't had a friend in the world. She started to clean and tidy the room. At first he protested, saying, "Leave it alone. It's all right as it is." But she went ahead anyway. Under the pile of rubbish, she found a beautiful oil lamp, but it was covered with dirt. She cleaned and polished it. Then she asked him, "How come you never lighted the lamp?" "Why should I light it?" he replied. "No one ever comes to see me. I never see anybody. Will you promise to light it up if one of my sisters comes to see you?" "Yes," he replied. "If I hear a human voice, I will light the lamp." Two of Mother Teresa's nuns began to visit him on a regular basis. Things gradually improved for him. Then one day he said to the nuns, "Sisters, I will be able to manage on my own from now on. But do me a favor. Tell that first sister who came to see me that the light she lit in my life is still burning." St. Mother Teresa becomes a light in the life of that man by dispelling the darkness of fear from him, and that is the call of every Christian. In today's first reading and in the Gospel, Jesus is presented as the one sent to remove darkness of sin from the world. Through Isaiah, God promises that his people will see an end to the darkness of oppression and separation. Today's Gospel shows us how the prophecy of Isaiah was fulfilled in Jesus. The refrain of today's responsorial psalm reminds us, "The Lord is my light and my salvation." The second reading advises the Corinthians to live as the children of light, avoiding divisions and rivalries, because several factions had arisen among the Corinthian Christians, each claiming allegiance to the first Christian teacher or a particular apostle. Matthew tells us that the people to whom Jesus brought his ministry had been sitting in darkness, but that Jesus' coming had brought them a great light. The area was called the Galilee of the Gentiles because there was a large population of Hellenistic pagans mixed in with the Jews who had only recently begun to resettle a land devastated by earlier wars. As a Jew in Roman-controlled territory, Jesus had located himself among the marginalized, with the poor, not the wealthy, with the rural peasants, not the urban elite, with the ruled, not the rulers, with the powerless and exploited, not the powerful, but with those who resisted imperial demands rather than with those who enforced them. Thus, he began his ministry among the apparently small and insignificant places and people who nevertheless were central of God's purposes. The challenge for us is that we need to become the light of the world as Jesus was the light in darkness. The mission and role of Christians is to receive the light of Christ and radiate it to everyone as love, kindness, mercy, forgiveness, humble service, and respect for those with different ethnic backgrounds, different lifestyles, other faiths, and no faith at all. With a little bit of Christ's light, we become a lighthouse, illuminating the way for many and removing the darkness caused by hatred, spite, and jealousy. We too need to introduce Christ's light into the darkness of prejudice, war, abuse, social injustice, hunger, poverty, ignorance, greed, anger, vengeance, and apathy. We should seek and walk in the light of God, the good news. God's light breaks our yoke. It shows us the way. It clears our doubts and fears and increases our confidence in God and in ourselves too, like Saint Mother Teresa. Reflect today upon our response to Jesus' invitation to be a light of the world and expel darkness from our families, societies, church, and the world. May the words of Jesus redeem us. Amen.